How's it going, everybody? My name is Waddles. I hope you're doing well, and welcome to my Blaze Farm tutorial. Today I will be teaching you how to make a Blaze Farm that will work in both Java Edition as well as Bedrock Edition, and this is working in the 1.13.1 update. The nice thing about this farm is the fact that it uses no new 1.13 mechanics, so if you're in an older version, this should work as well. Of course, this is not a new design. I am not the original creator of this design, just the original creator of this tutorial video here. We will be using an upside down pyramid shape paired with tons of redstone that is actually pretty easy to funnel the blaze down into a killing room. So what do you need to collect to build the farm? This stuff right here. It's really not a whole lot of things. Really, the biggest, most expensive thing that you're going to need to get your hands on is 48 sticky pistons. You will want sticky pistons because it will make your wiring a whole lot more simple. Then you'll need repeaters and redstone dust as well as some pressure plates. I advise you to not use wooden pressure plates. You will also need building blocks. Now, the building blocks are not an exact amount. You'll just need non-flammable building blocks, and you'll also need some picks and some torches probably to light this thing up. So go ahead and gather up these supplies. Keep in mind that these should be the exact numbers on the top here. If you lose your place at any time in this video, there will be timestamps down in the description to each step. If this video helps you out, leave a like and consider subscribing because that stuff really helps me out. I've switched my game mode over to peaceful just to avoid annoying mobs for this tutorial, but keep in mind that mobs will be a thing, so be careful when you're doing this. First off, you need to find a blaze spawner because of course that is what we will be using for the farm. I advise you to look for a blaze spawner that isn't over a lava ocean. Working over a lava ocean is not fun, not desirable at all, and it will make this process a whole lot harder. However, if that is the only blaze spawner you have, that will do just fine. The first building step would be encasing this blaze spawner in a room. In terms of the dimensions of this room, you are going to want to go 4 blocks out in every direction from the spawner and then 2 above. Throw a slab on top of the spawner so blaze will not idle on top of the spawner. Additionally, if you have found a spawner down one of those hallways in the nether fort that is kind of like covered by netherrack, you shouldn't really need to dig anything out of the ceiling. The ceiling should already be too high. You will want to fill in the walls all the way around this room, and you will want a temporary floor in this room as well. Once you have fully closed off this room, blaze should no longer escape. Now, you can stop the blaze spawner from spawning blaze by lighting up this room. The floor should be right below the spawner, as it already is. If you're having difficulty with this step, try a decent set of armor or some fire resistance potions. Either of those things may make your life a whole lot easier. And again, this floor will be temporary, so make it out of whatever you want, just something that isn't flammable. Leaves would not be the best choice. So once you've fully closed off the blaze spawner room, the blaze should stay in there, and this whole building process should get a whole lot easier for you. That was really the hardest step. Next up, you're going to want to go below the blaze spawner, find it. I like to dig out the block just so I know where the center is, and dig 3 blocks down from the ceiling. So that means 4 blocks below the spawner. You're going to replicate the room that you just built, so another 9 by 9 by 3 tall room. When building the walls for this room, make sure you connect the walls of the lower room to the upper room. That means fill in this block that is even with the temporary floor. You don't want either of these rooms to be open to the outside nether. One final thing to note about this room would be the floor. The floor around the outside of the room, meaning this little area that I'm showing off in the corner, will be permanent. The floor in the middle of the room, the area that I was just digging out, will be removed in the next step. I advise you to place a block that is, again, non-flammable and also is not netherrack around the outside of this room. The wall could be netherrack, but don't have the floor of this area as netherrack because if blaze shoot in here, fire will land on the netherrack and permanently exist there. That's not really a problem, but it is kind of annoying. If you still have your spawner open, you can go ahead and close it off, or you could leave it exposed. It shouldn't really matter. It's time to begin properly setting up the pyramid that I talked about earlier. If you haven't lowered the floor in the center of your room and replaced the blocks around the outside of this room with something that isn't flammable, do so now. After doing so, you will want to lower the floor 2 more blocks in the center only. Leave this outside ledge alone. So you are then 3 blocks below that outside ring of blocks. You'll want to clear out this whole center area of blocks, create another ring of non-flammable blocks around the outside, and then dig down 3 more blocks. So we have another tier to this pyramid. There we go. There's the next tier of this pyramid. So right now I have 3 floors as it stands. However, we want to dig out one final level of this pyramid. You should have a 3x3 center right now. Go ahead and dig 3 down in this 3x3 area. So clear out all of the blocks and create one final level of this pyramid. Again, line the outside ring with non-flammable blocks that are also not netherrack. You should have one final center area now. This is where we will be dropping Blaze into. The room may look a little messy right now, as mine does, but you'll have time to clean that up later. It's time to start throwing in the redstone. The redstone really isn't all that advanced. Go ahead and grab your sticky pistons first and begin to line your pyramid tiers with these sticky pistons. The placement of these sticky pistons is a little weird. You will want to skip one corner on each floor. These sticky pistons should be 1 block back below each floor level. Don't worry about the top floor. We'll talk about that at the end. So begin on this second floor right here. You should have 6 sticky pistons on each side. Remember that ghast can blow up sticky pistons, so you may want to fully encase these pistons with solid blocks the ghast cannot blow up, such as netherrack or cobblestone. As I mentioned just a minute ago, you will be skipping one corner on each side. The best way to explain why you don't want sticky pistons along the entirety of a side is by example. If we had a sticky piston right here, and also right here, when a blaze lands on this pressure plate, both pistons will extend and crush the blaze. That is not what we want. Therefore, place the sticky pistons just like I have here, and you should be good. After setting up that first floor, repeat the process on that second floor. This time, you should have 4 sticky pistons on each side, again, skipping one corner on each side to prevent that crushing that I just talked about. By the way, make sure the corner that you're skipping is the same corner on each side. So right here, I skipped the right corner, I skipped the right corner again, and again, and again, of course. But after setting up the second level of sticky pistons, you want your third and final level of sticky pistons. This time, there should be 2 sticky pistons on each side, again skipping one corner on each side. Wiring these pistons up is actually pretty easy. To begin, dig up the block that is diagonally in front of and below your pistons. You will want to alternate between repeaters and redstone dust going into a block that is below the sticky piston. If you have an open area below the sticky pistons, be sure to fill that in or this wiring will not work. Here is what your wiring should look like after wiring up the first level of sticky pistons. Again, I am alternating between repeaters and redstone dust. I am not adding any ticks to the repeaters, just alternating. Repeat the sticky piston wiring process on each layer. So this is what your final wiring should look like. A simple alternation between repeater and redstone dust. Now to power these pistons, we will be using pressure plates. Place pressure plates on each and every block on each layer of this upside down pyramid that has pistons. That means don't do anything on this top floor still. This is fine just like it is. When a blaze falls onto the pressure plate, it will turn on the redstone repeater or redstone dust and power the block below the sticky piston, thus powering the sticky piston. The blaze will then be pushed down. We are just about done with this farm. You may have noticed, however, when you stop on a pressure plate, the sticky piston pushes out and you don't move. That is because we now need to add a block in front of each and every sticky piston. This is the tricky part if you're in survival. I advise towering up from the middle and placing blocks on each floor. After towering up, you will dig your way back down to get out of this room. The blocks that you are using can be any solid block that is not flammable, and of course can be pushed by a sticky piston. After covering up all of your sticky pistons, you need to prepare the area in which you will be farming the blaze from. I advise digging 6 blocks down from the block I am standing on right now. Be careful when you're doing this. Remember, digging straight down is dangerous. And then setting up your room. So swinging on over to my finished and fully decorated blaze farm, you can see right here that I have 5 blocks and then a raised 6th block right below that little opening area. You will want to fully enclose this little area so blaze cannot get out. You'll want to leave this final layer open so you can actually hit blaze once they start funneling down in here. Do not stand right against this block, however, or the blaze will be able to hit you, which will not be good. If you can't remember that, place some extra blocks down here, and that will prevent you from getting too close to the blaze. So finally, once you have your blaze containment area all set up, it's time to unleash the blaze into this lower part of the farm. Work your way back up to where the blaze spawner is, break your way in, and start clearing out each and every floor block in this room. Be very careful because blaze will begin to spawn on you, which is very dangerous because you don't want to fall down into this thing or you'll be funneled into this blaze containment area as well. I advise you to remove the blocks on one side of this farm room first, then move over towards the back of the farm, remove all of those blocks, and work your way back out to your entrance, however you got into this farm. The blaze that spawn inside of this farm should detect you and begin trying to fire at you. To get the blaze to stop doing their annoying shooting thing, run away from this farm and despawn the blaze. That means run something like 200 blocks or so in one direction away from the farm. When you come back, the farm should be empty, and then blaze will respawn and should not shoot at you anymore because they can't detect you. The final thing that you should note is an AFK area. Because the final thing that you need to take note of when setting up this farm is an AFK area to get the blaze spawner to actually spawn the blaze. Spawners deactivate when you are more than 16 blocks from them. This floor is more than 16 blocks from the blaze spawner. If you AFK behind the first level of pistons, just like I'm doing here, the spawner will be active. It doesn't matter which set of pistons you are behind, so long as you are behind at least the first layer of pistons. With some patience, you should eventually hear the pistons firing and moving the blaze down into your killing area so you can then farm them. In this part of the video, I'll go over just a few extra little tips and things you should note. First off, we'll talk about blaze idling on this first tier. You can get around that by adding in a whole nother level of sticky pistons if you'd like. However, that makes the farm a lot more expensive. It's a whole lot easier to just be patient and wait for the blaze to move off of that first level and down into the whole trap system. However, you could copy all of the wiring and everything and do that on this top and final layer. Sometimes the blaze will get suffocated by the sticky pistons or the blocks that are being pushed by the sticky pistons. There isn't a good way to avoid this. It's just going to happen sometimes. It shouldn't happen too much though. Do you like my firewall? That's the whole tutorial. That's everything I have to say. I hope this video helped you out. Remember, if it helped you out or if you enjoyed it, leave a like. That stuff helps me out, and consider subscribing. I also have a whole tutorial playlist that is linked down below and will be on the end slide in just a few moments with all of the tutorials that I have done. If you have any additional questions or comments or concerns, throw them down below and I will try my best to get back to you. If you love what I do and want to support me directly, I do have a Patreon that is linked down in the description as well. If you do choose to support me, there are some cool benefits that are all laid out on Patreon. Thank you very much for watching, have fun farming blaze, and I will see you next time. My name is Waddles, go have a good day. Goodbye, everybody.